Welcome viewers to our next episode of Expert Speak series, where we're bringing together experts from various walks of agriculture to share their insights and best practices around organic farming. Today, my guest is Dr. Manoharan Krishna. He's an international organic agriculture scientist and agripreneur and a businessman from Vellore, Tamil Nadu. He's the founder and chairman of Natura Agroganica in Vellore. Dr. Krishna has done various international research projects for NASA, ISRO, WHO, Merck, Bayer, among others. He's widely traveled across the world. He says Indian ancient agriculture is the symbolism of today's natural or organic agriculture. So today he will be talking about global opportunities for scientific and exportable organic agriculture. Dr. Krishna, really nice to have you with us here today.
Thank you, Karthik. Yeah, we can proceed with our program.
Okay, sir. So you have traveled globally. You've worked at various places, right? NASA, ISRO. So to begin with, I wanted to understand: are our modern agricultural practices harming the land, water, or natural resources?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Can you just precisely say what you're expecting?
Yeah, so I wanted to understand, are our modern agricultural practices that we are currently following, in what way they're harming the land, water, and other natural resources?
Yeah, it's a very good question, Karthik, to start with. Due to various reasons, which I'll be briefing a little later,
Sure.
Man has moved from natural agriculture to organic agriculture. In the sense the moved away from organic agriculture to chemical agriculture, mainly to the diminished poverty across the world from 1904 to 1950s, and also the scientific inventions and scientific discoveries of various organic inputs prompted him to go in for chemical agriculture. When you use chemical agriculture, part of the nutritional content or active ingredients, and also the protective the agents or the protective factors, complexes used as insecticide, pesticide, weedicide, and other preservatives, and also rodenticides have given lot of residual toxins, though a molecule has been built by agrochemists and also chemists across the world. After utilizing the active ingredients and also nutritional factors in that all the synthetically made chemical inputs, the in situ created residual contents are left behind in the land, and also bleached down by the water, and also getting clathrated in the plant tissues, and ultimately goes into the flowers, leaves, fruits, and seeds. So these unknown intermediates are creating are becoming toxins and posing a lot of health problems to the consumers and also the environment, especially like soil, water, and air pollution. So due to this reason, we don't know what are the intermediary biodecomposed or biodegraded materials created by microorganisms. In several years, we have been using chemical ingredients like urea, DAP, potash, and soluble fertilizers like potassium nitrate, monoammonium phosphate, and why not, and many other concentrated, active, very super active fertilizers are being used now. If it is absolutely or completely consumed by the plants or consumed by the crops, we may not pose the problem. So just like similar aspects, what we are using detergents in domestic area or civilization area, that enters ultimately a slopey or down the line water gathering ponds or lakes or rivers, creating eutrophication. So the similar thing here also will happen. Eutrophication, you know very well, at that zone where oxygen demand is created in the water gathering area or lagoons or ponds and lakes. Similar way, in the soil also, these toxins will be getting accumulated posing lot of the pollution problem and ultimately contamination problem to the plants, air, and a lot of microorganisms are living in the soil, and also the arthropods and several types of zoological zoological the living beings. So definitely it is getting toxified. Simple word I can use is the soil ultimately getting toxified by using modern agriculture system, Karthik.
Correct. So considering that it is getting toxified, then how important is it to follow good agriculture practices or good manufacturing practices while growing and handling organic produce?
Yeah, it's really a challenging question to be answered, which we have tackled this for past one generation. That is more than 30 years we have been using organic inputs developed from plant kingdom and also from several types of the organic soil. What do you mean by organic soil? The soil which is leached down from the forest and leached down from the lot of organic matters across the rivers and the forest beds, and also the different types of the mines and quarry waste that is again coming from earth crust only, where you will find out a lot of micronutrients, macronutrients, secondary nutrients, as you all know, like NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, potash, calcium, zinc, magnesium, manganese, iron, cobalt, of course, boron and selenium and blah, 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 whatever you call it as. Ultimately, along with this naturally available, naturally sourced ingredients, if you use it, then it is possible to go back to GAP, that is good agriculture practices. One part of GAP very well is a specific requirement of calorific value of agricultural nutritional ingredients is important. That has to be in situ developed, or it has to be developed through enrichment or fortification method by only using naturally available ingredients, Karthik.
Okay, sir. So you mentioned that there's a lot of toxification that is happening of the soil. So what are all the types of contamination which could happen during post-harvest activities?
Yeah, strictly speaking, post-harvest management to be had as a hygienic and toxin-free environment. First, how is your environment? Is it polluted by the industries or radioactive materials, or the domestic area where a lot of biological contamination is in the air, airborne biological problems, and ultimately the personals, the manpower which we are using for post-harvest management is very important. For example, a working man or a woman may have some flu problem or any other contagious disease problem, which you are not identifying and using them for post-harvest management. That is the ultimate and final thing which is getting contaminated. That will pose you biological problem, disease problem, and other things. If any other pollution, like sulfur trioxide, nitric oxides, and some kind of the flying fine particulate matter from nearby industries which are containing heavy metals like mercury salts, lead salts, and arsenic salts, chromium salts, and things like that would definitely give you post-harvestment toxification.
Okay. So, in your opinion, what do you think third-party certification bodies, like Aditi and others, what value you think they're adding to the agriculture produce, which is being produced by respecting the natural resources in addition to increasing the overall productivity? What value you are seeing third-party certification bodies like Aditi contributing to this?
Yeah, it's a very, very valuable question, Karthi, because the certifying body plays a vital role to give the genuinity of the organic agriculture in a cumulative way. Let it be soil preparation, let it be water preparation, let it be organic nutritional practices, and let it be crop protection management, entire system by organic, and also the harvesting mechanism and post-harvest management system, all put together is taken care by one certification authority, and let it be Aditi, let it be USDA, let it be Demtor, let it be EcoCert or JAS or blah blah blah, whoever it is.
Yes.
But ultimately, what is required is the genuinity and authenticity of the certifying body.
Correct.
That's what we are inculcating. We are emphasizing throughout world, where I'm working right now in 150 countries.
Wow.
Or more than 40 to 50 countries importing and exporting. We are doing organic contents and organic activity, both organic inputs as well as organic agriculture producers all together, including value-added products. In this case, I will emphasize that the certifying authority should also extend their vigilance and also kind of emphasizing the both side, buyer and also the seller and also the producer. Producer, trader, and buyer. Let it be import or export or domestic purpose. All three bodies are all three agents to be coming under control of you, certifying people who are playing a very, very vital role, Karthik.
Okay. Okay. So, sir, you're also involved in a lot of import and export, like you mentioned, and in 150 odd countries that you spoke about. So I just wanted to understand, with a diversified cropping system, can a small and marginal landholding farmer cater healthier products for international markets?
It is absolutely possible. That's what we are practicing now. We are encouraging even half-acre farmer to 5 lakh acre or 5 hectare landowners or landholding companies or corporates. It's because in India, there is a proverb: small droplets of rain gives you running perennial river.
Correct.
So like that, it is only the binding force or the binding authority or bridging authority is important. For example, you take a person in North Canara, one village, or you take South Tamil Nadu, one village in Tenkasi district or Tirunelveli district. A person having half acre, nearby another person is having 1 acre, 2 acre, 3 acre. All these small farmers can be combined together and under one supervision of good agriculture practices under organic methodology can give you beautiful, high quality and time bound and reliable products. It's because small pocket of agriculture today is important, and it is being focused way that small farmer is working. And big corporates, very well, automation or semi-automation or manual gives you the non-uniformity in the production and also the total game plan. Whereas it is like a 20-20 cricket game when compared to test cricket match. Here a person comes, uses 5 or 6 overs, try to hit 50 runs or 60 runs and try to make win-win situation.
Correct.
Whereas a big corporate, players, unless otherwise they the product in a uniform way or equivalent, or the overall uniform quality will be a question mark. Whereas small people are paying much attention, day-to-day attention, weekly attention, and also the harvest, the ripened, semi-ripened, and fully ripened products will be harvested by the owner himself, where you will get assured quality, assured quantum. However, collecting small farmer is a big menace today, but now we are winning them because creating 2 or 3 successful and progressive farmer in one particular place gives you indirect marketing and promotes other farmer to join us big team, and it is certainly working out, Karthik.
Okay, very interesting.
As a matter of fact, past 5 days I have been traveling across Tamil Nadu. We have gathered now 5,000 farmers who are having half acre, 1 acre, 1.5 acre, 3 acre, 10 acre, like that. And all of them are very enthusiastic to enter into organic agriculture system, Karthik, which we are giving on BOT basis, build, operate and transfer basis, international standard, scientific, organic agriculture technology, Karthik.
Okay. So like you mentioned, so there is a lot of this international, modern scientific methods also which are coming for cultivation. So how do you think we can combine that along with our traditional good old farming systems to improve production and productivity?
Yeah, as I told you, specific consumption and the specific requirement of all the ingredients put together. Let it be soil enrichment, let it be microbial content in the soil, let it be nitrogen carbon ratio in the soil, or let it be the seed which we are using genetically pure seed, and then crop management system where you are using phytal extracts or biological inputs to control insects, rodenticides, rodents, and also other problem creating species on the top of the earth. And ultimately, what is important is specification of your final product. For example, we are producing a lot of dragon fruit. We have seen dragon fruit across India. Why Natura Agroorganica dragon fruit alone is purple reddish color? It's because when you go for 100% organic agriculture, the pigment formation is up to the originality, up to the natural authenticity. There, sunlight is reflecting when Natura Agroorganica dragon fruit receives the sunlight. When it reflects the sunlight from the top of the skin of the dragon fruit, it gives you shining violet color. Whereas chemically cultivated dragon fruit, already chemical has leached out the pectin and polysaccharides on the top of the fruit, which doesn't have the characteristic property of natural dragon fruit.
Okay. So my last question would be is that do you think there is enough scope and opportunity to grow cash crops to cater to international markets while growing stable food for self-sustenance?
Absolutely, Karthi. Because you know very well the cold countries like Russia, let it be Europe, entire 12 countries or 14 countries are taking lot of the salad items and the rich leafy products like lettuce and purple cabbages, your broccoli, and also other leafy products which are very, very important, which is also cash crop. But the issue is that you have to go for protective crop system, like shade net cultivation or polyhouse cultivation, or wherever the temperature is conducive or the agri-climatic parameters are conducive, it is possible to make cash crops. Definitely, cash crop is like a 20-20 match. You have to run from first ball to last ball. Whereas the perennial crops and tropical fruits or other long living seasonal fruits and crops doesn't have so much of pain. However, where there is high pain, you will get high gain also. That's what the entire world is enjoying now. Definitely, cash crops are having very good scope across the world, Karthik.
Okay. Sir, it was wonderful talking with you. Very interesting insights, right from toxification to exports to cash crops, and high, where there is high pain, there is high gain, and that's what's happening. Really enjoyed the conversation today. Thanks once again for your time, and looking forward to interacting with you again, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Karthik. Thank you. And you all know that I already shared with Joseph also that we have been awarded yesterday International Best Organic Global Award.
Wow!
Which is
Congratulations,
really prestigious
sir.
to entire organic farming community.
Absolutely.
Because all these days organic producers are not at all recognized across the world, unless otherwise they're making good profit. That is their satisfaction. Today, the space research scientist has been compared with organic scientists. That is none other than myself and my team and all of you well-wishers, and also the people who are aspiring to change from chemical products consumption to organic production consumption. That is a very good change across the world. And I'm ready to share all the technologies and also the build and develop on BOT basis any kind of organic tropical winter crops and exotic crops across the world. And thank you very much for the opportunity.
Yes,
I wish
congratulations
all the
once
organic
again.
farming community people to cherish and enjoy. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Congratulations once again, sir. It's really nice to see people like you being the flag bearers for organic agriculture, and wishing more success to you and your team going forward. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Karthi. Basically, I am a farmer born in farming family, Jamindar family. Then developed from the scratch to farmer to international scientist, and also we have done various business doctorates, like doctorate in international business management, doctorate in export import management. All those whatever I learned techniques and methodologies, incorporating and implementing in organic agriculture system. And also we are giving free service to poor farmers across the world,
nice.
and also good nominal and reasonable charges to the corporates and upcoming agripreneurs, Karthik. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so in fact, I would encourage all our viewers to reach out to Dr. Krishna, whoever is interested to become an agripreneur, or if you know any farmers, poor farmers who need support to move towards organic, please reach out to Dr. Krishna, and I'm sure you will immensely value from his knowledge and expertise. Thank you, sir.